laughing aloud now, magic in the air. Wands swirl around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's always.
Wizards of the Coast hit with under 100 firings as Hasbro contemplates moving from Rhode Island, yes, that's a real place, to Boston. Go Red Sox! Good morning and welcome, my nerds. Hello. Welcome. Welcome if it's your first time. Welcome back if you've been here before. Thank you for putting up with me all these years. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's Friday. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's the 25th day of October, 2024. 70 degrees and sunny here at Site B. And we have got the very much expected announcement that more people at Hasbro have lost their jobs, most of which is from Wizards of the Coast. And despite everything that they said in the Q3 announcements, trying to be all positive, it is sad to report that Dungeons & Dragons sales are down and the money is just not there. Now, remember at Q1, when they announced that they'd lost us $1 billion, they promised they'd make us that $1 billion back. They haven't. But that's okay, because all the major stockholders and the major board of directors and all the important people like, Jeremy Crawford and Chris Cox, they all saw a raise. Meanwhile, under 100 people have been terminated or will be terminated as Hasbro contemplates the move from Rhode Island to, of all places, Boston. What does that mean for Wizards of the Coast Seattle and Wizards of the Coast Texas? I just want to take a moment. I noticed this morning. You guys ever notice that none of the bad news comes from Wizards of the Coast Texas? It either comes from Hasbro on the one side of the coast or Wizards of the Coast Seattle on the other side of the coast. You never hear about Wizards of the Coast Texas. It's like they somehow manage. They're Hufflepuff. They're the Hufflepuff of Hasbro. Like nothing ever happens to them. They're just, oh, something's going on in Seattle, Steve. Did you see that? Well, that's very good, Bruce, but we live here in Texas where thankfully nothing ever happens to us. Don't remind them. Don't even remind them we're here. I mean, say what you will about Wizards of the Coast, but Wizards of the Coast Texas must be doing something right that we never hear about them. I think most people even don't remember that there's a Wizards of the Coast in Texas. So we know one of the people was terminated. That was the guy in charge of influencers, which is, I don't even really know if that's a thing, but we're not really sure what he did. But best guess by Professor Dungeon Master and other people smarter than myself is he was the guy who was in charge of contacting influencers like Jeannie D or Iron Mouse and, doing the little schmoozeroozle like, hey, you say nice things about us and we'll send you a copy of the next game to review. And, we'll let you interview Kyle Brink when he rolls up and says something unbelievably stupid or something. So I guess that's what the guy did. We're not sure. But based upon the title, maybe that's what he did. Anyways, he's gone. A couple other people's names we know of are gone, but that guy's the main one. They're streamlining the team as they are restructuring Hasbro Wizards of the Coast yet again. So if you remember, a few years ago, they restructured and moved departments around. Wizards of the Coast was no longer its own solid country. It got gobbled up and made into the digital Wizards. So everything digital and everything Wizards of the Coast was all under one thing and all run by one or two dudes. Why would they do that? Well, because they got rid of a bunch of people. And if every time Wizards of the Coast was successful, they could say, look how successful Wizards of the Coast and digital is. And if digital made less money, they could just say, well, look, it's successful. Because the whole department made X. And same thing as we saw over the last couple quarterly reports, digital is doing incredibly well. Wizards of the Coast, not so much. But in order to appease the Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons shills, they can go, look how successful Wizards of the Coast was. Well, actually, it was Magic the Gathering Online, Monopoly Go, D&D Beyond, and all the other little things. But it was part of Wizards of the Coast. And then Baldur's Gate made, a ton of money. And they were like, look how successful Wizards of the Coast was. Then somehow they fucked over Baldur's Gate. So those guys never want to work with them again. And they're like, look how successful Wizards of the Coast was. Unfortunately, it looks like Wizards of the Coast is not as successful as we thought, because D&D sales are down. Wizards of the Coast sales are down, but Magic the Gathering sales jumped up after the recent Commander controversy and all that nonsense that happened recently. And they were able to show a profit, a 30% profit at the end of the line from Magic. So they were able to say, oh, look, even though D&D's down, we can blame it on Baldur's Gate, even though that's our fault. But look, Magic is up. So between Magic Digital and Magic Physical, when we post the numbers, we did okay. But unless you live in Rhode Island, because as we look at this article in the Boston News, we can see the plans for Hasbro to move, and the move seems to be one of the incentives for why so many people are losing their jobs. But not everybody lose their jobs, because Wizards of the Coast Digital has a brand new person in charge. I saw his name earlier. Did I lose it? There was a name. There's a dude. Hold on. I had it a second ago. Nope, that's not it. I know there's a new guy in charge, and he's somebody I've never heard of. Oh, well, I can't find where I found it, but I know that there's a new guy in charge of Wizards and Toto. There's a new Grand Master sitting on the throne. What does this mean for Crawford? I don't know. I mean, if you go to Hasbro.com and look at the jobs, they're still looking to replace that job, fill that job. So as far as I know, they're still looking to move Crawford along. But yeah, 199 people. And we know it's going to happen sometime between yesterday and the future. Now, there's some wibbly wobbly legal stuff involved. Dracoya from Pickle Dragon explained it a little better than I can. So I'll post the link down below if you want to listen to Dracoya talking about it on Pickle Dragon. But because of legalities, and you have to inform the government if you're going to fire more than 60 people in one big chunk within 90 days. I didn't know that until I heard that from her. I worked in corporate America for most of my life. I never heard that thing. They just fired us left and right. I didn't know they had to plan it ahead 60 days. And we're planning, Steve, in 60 days from now. Let the government know. Okay, we're firing. Dear government, we're firing 60 people in 90 days. Love and kisses. All right, and send them to, I don't know. So obviously the firings aren't going to happen at once. We have one chunk that's going to have already happened. We're going to have more little chunks spread out between now and the end of the year. They're all going to happen on Fridays or before holiday breaks. I explained why we do this yesterday. I've explained this a few times why they do that, but if you've never heard my explanation, it is because of the false idea that if you fire somebody before closing Friday, they have all weekend to deal with the emotional impact. So by Monday, they've calmed down and they're not going to come back angry and, I don't know, like open fire on the office. Except that's consistently been proven wrong, that 9 out of 10 times the person who you fired on Friday is still angry on Monday. So I don't know why they still do that, but they still do. It's going to take more than 2 days for people to get over the fact that you fired them on Friday during the holidays. Now, I know this all sounds bad. I mean, sales down, money down, employees losing their jobs again, but I'm sure all the people who don't actually do anything will still keep their jobs, like Crawford and Mackenzie and Todd and all the other people who, I don't know, what is your job? D&D architect? That's not even a job. But the people who actually do anything, the people who actually do actual art and writing and editing and legal stuff and advertising and communicating, they're gone. Hasbro right now has about 1,000 employees, not counting whoever's still left over at Wizards. But according to the article, Hasbro Rhode Island has about 1,000 employees. A major corporation has about 1,000 employees, not 10,000, not 100,000. 1,000. They had 1,400 full-time employees in 2023. Now they have 1,000. I mean, that's not counting part-time employees and contract employees, but still, it seems a little weird that a major multi-billion-dollar worldwide corporation has 1,000 guys. I mean, I guess with automation and computers and whatever. And yeah, now some of them are gone too. Why are so many of them coming from Wizards? I don't know. Why could it be? I don't know. Why are they firing so many guys from Wizards? It's not like, oh, wait, because we won't need them anymore because the Wizards is going to be all digital, all done by the AI. Not going to need guys to write modules anymore. The AI is going to do the modules. Not going to need guys to paint or draw pictures anymore. The AI is going to do that. Not going to need guys to, I don't know, communicate with the press, communicate with each other in the department. The computer's going to handle that. Skynet's got it covered. Yes. But so what does that mean for 2025 Wizards of the Coast product line? Don't know, because I'm not even sure what's coming out in 2025 after the Monster Manual's Guide. I think we're getting basically another dragon book, even though we just had a dragon book like a couple days ago. And we might be getting some tour guide thing of the Sword Coast, because of all the Forgotten Realms, the Sword Coast seems to be the only part that Wizards of the Coast remembers, and they just seem to ignore all the other parts, like, Fae. Now, I know this is all bad news. I know that, as much as we all hate Wizards and hate Hasbro and don't understand why you'd move from Rhode Island to Boston because it's going to cost you more. And there's all these people who are out of work, but don't worry, don't worry, because of all the news that we heard today, this is possibly the most important. So I want you to be sitting down. Don't worry about all the people who just lost their jobs, because while they're standing in the unemployment line, they will have a chance to eat D&D favored meat snacks. Yes! This is what we've been waiting for our entire lives, ladies and gentlemen. 50 years of this amazing hobby has led us to this. D&D flavored meat sticks. Yes! We can't pay our employees, but we sure as hell can pay some company to come up with D&D flavored meat sticks. Hawaiian style teriyaki wild boar with beef stick. Honey barbecue style turkey with beef stick. Jalapeno elk with beef stick. Do you think this actually got turkey, elk, and boar in it? No, but they're saying it does. So it's good to know that why those people during the hobbies are in the unemployment lands, freezing in the Boston winter, they will be able to eat Dungeons and Dragons flavored meat sticks, right? Because that's what's important. That's the single most important news, because, wait for it, because it's coming. Because I love the song. That's so Wizards!
Laughing aloud now, magic in the air. Wands swirl around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizard, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show. Mischief in the classroom, potions gone.